Biggest winner of the debate. Let's go around. John Iadarola, who's the biggest winner?
Lincoln Chafee. No, Bernie Sanders. Yes, Bernie Sanders. I think that Bernie Sanders had something to prove to people who hear the word socialism and are scared by it, because they've only heard elementary school propaganda coming out of the right for something like 75 to 100 years. But he showed you what that ideology actually means in practice. And what it means is addressing the very real problems of American families that have been underserved by both parties for something like 40 years.
All right. Jimmy Dore.
Bernie Sanders, obvious winner because the whole country gets to hear him for the first time and he's not scary. And he's moved the debate to the left. All those people up there are saying most of those things because of Bernie Sanders' popularity. So that's why I think he's the big winner in this debate.
Ben Mankiewicz.
I don't really know. We'll know later. I don't.
Okay, back over to Johnny.
I don't have my. I don't have my finger on the pulse of the country. I have learned that. It did seem like Bernie Sanders did very well for the reasons that Jimmy said. That he introduced himself to the country in an effective way. He's got a long way to go to convince people to vote for a
socialist,
for a guy who's described himself proudly as a socialist. But I think that this. You know, my hunch is that he was the most inspirational guy there. The other three made very little dent. Martin O'Malley had a much better second half than a first half, but he still seemed unctuous. And I think this is if it wasn't clear to everybody before, it is now officially clear that this is a two-person race and that there are differences between those candidates. But because he held his own with her, and she is very clearly electable, being Hillary Clinton, it helped him to hold his own on the stage with someone who is clearly elected.
Yeah. Now I see why the DNC wanted to limit the debates, because every time that Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton go head to head, and Bernie Sanders doesn't lose and doesn't seem like, oh, that guy's not electable, etc., he comes out as the winner of that debate in that sense, since Hillary Clinton has the big national poll leads. Okay, we're all agreed, we're unanimous. Bernie Sanders the winner of the debate. And look, obviously,
but that doesn't make in my mind, that doesn't make everybody else the loser in the debate.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hillary's the second winner.
Now, obviously, keep in mind we all might be a little biased too, because we tend towards Bernie Sanders' policy positions more than we do Hillary Clinton's. So let's just be honest about that. But overall, I thought that Bernie Sanders was strong throughout the debate. I thought Hillary Clinton was strong in the beginning of the debate, but then wavered in the middle, right? And so some things she said resonates. Hey, you don't want a Republican to win, so you vote for me, not Bernie Sanders. Remember, he's not electable. That's what she's implying. I get it. It's an effective argument. You might not agree, but it's effective. She says, hey, you want the first woman president. She oversaid it, in my opinion. She went back to that well about 3 or 4 times. But overall, she did a perfectly fine job. I'm with Ben. I don't think she lost the debate, right?
I think she did better than fine. I think she did an excellent job. I thought Bernie Sanders also did an excellent job. I think they both seemed really good. So I think I'd say he made up a little ground in the set because he seemed slightly more electable. But I think.
But I think in the end, I think Bernie's the big winner because of what Jimmy said, which is he set the tone. He's like, okay, this is the progressive positions, and everybody knows that Bernie has the actual progressive positions, that if anything, Hillary Clinton's trying to catch up to that, right? Yeah. So by setting that tone, he, in a sense, became the leader of the party.
Yeah, and I think
let me just say,
he's the conscience of the Democratic Party right now.
If the reason that he was thought to be running in the first place, and I think probably the reason he ran in the first place, was to move the debate to the left. I think, again, he was like, oh, well, look at this. I guess there's a 5% chance I can be president. Like, holy shit. But if his goal was to move it to the left, no question, Jimmy nailed it. He's done it, because that debate, most of that, 90% of that debate was on Bernie Sanders' terms.
Yeah. Well, he moved it so far to the left that they might just elect him.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he might have just moved it to his position.
You know, he sounded sounded so much like a socialist that he really sounded like a Democrat. I mean, really, that's really what's. But the thing he really needs to do, he was much better than I expected him, especially after I thought his speech in L.A. here when he came here at the big rally. I thought it was lackluster. I didn't think it was a good speech. And anyway, he was much better. He was ready for the tough questions. Here's what he needs to do, and I don't think he's going to do it. He needs to, whenever somebody asks him, aren't you a capitalist, he has to say, well, you need to educate your viewers that what we have here is regulated capitalism, but it's been rigged to help the upper 1%. And what I'm talking about is regulated capitalism that's rigged to help the
That's right.
working class.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. He needs to stop saying he's not a capitalist,
That's right.
and he needs to start saying we're all socialists. We're all democratic socialists. Do you like Medicare? Do you like Social Security? Do you like public schools? Do you like public roads? Do you like the military? We're all socialists to a certain degree. I want to rig the system so it's in favor of workers. They all want to rig the system so it's in favor of the upper 1%, which is how we've had it since Ronald Reagan. And that's how he needs to answer that question instead of telling Chuck Todd I'm not a capitalist and still here saying I'm not. He is a capitalist. He's just wants to put more socialism in it.
I'd vote for you if you weren't totally crazy.
Yeah, and hi.
And those pictures from college. But anyway.